Hello everyone, my name is Aaron Christensen. This is Horror 101 with Dr. AC, and welcome back to The Stack, which just keeps getting taller, and that's a good thing. Today, we're going to be talking about Zombie Holocaust, released from Severin. Or wait, is it Dr. Butcher MD, also from Severin? The answer is both, because they're the same movie, retitled by distributor Terry Levine back in the day. Back in the day being 1980. Zombie Holocaust is basically the love child of Zombie by Lucio Fulci and Cannibal Holocaust by Ruggero Deodato, because why not combine the cannibal subgenre and the zombie subgenre into the same movie if you can? Answer, they can. We have director Marino Girolami, also known as Frank Martin, to thank for it. And we also have Severin to thank for putting out this incredible 4-disc package. Basically, it's repurposing the supplements from their 2016 Blu-ray release, and they have added in a 4K UHD upgrade for both versions of the film. Now, those UHD discs don't have any extras on them. It's just the film. So if you're looking for that UHD upgrade, this is here for you. If you already own the 2016 Blu-ray, I would say that unless you're looking for that UHD upgrade, you're probably not going to need to double dip. However, if you missed out on that 2016 Blu-ray, you should absolutely pick this one up because it is just jam-packed with supplements. Plus, you get two really incredible examples. I keep saying two, but that's really kind of a misnomer, because other than a little bit of footage at the very beginning, utilizing a piece of footage from an unfinished zombie film that Roy Frumkus did, Roy Frumkus of Street Trash and Document of the Dead fame. Outside of that little bit of footage, they're basically the same film. There's a few trims in Dr. Butcher MD. I talked about Terry Levine earlier. Terry Levine decided that he was going to trim down Zombie Holocaust, and because the slasher boom was starting to come into vogue, he thought it'd be easier to sell a slasher film than another Italian zombie film. And turns out he was correct, because the film was a huge hit on 42nd Street. Now, this is back in the day when it was truly the deuce, and Severin pays homage to those heady days of 42nd Street when it was grimy and dirty and filled with literal grindhouse theaters. A lot of the supplements on the Dr. Butcher MD disc are actually celebrating that whole scene. I'm one of those people where I really like to watch the movie in a peaceful environment. So I don't know that I understand the nostalgia for a time when you had to wade through the drunks and the drug addicts and the prostitutes and people getting in fights and the smelly theaters and the risk of life and limb, all for the sake of watching a movie. I would love to have seen all of those movies that were running. I don't know that I would have appreciated the environment as much as some people claim to. If you do have that kind of nostalgia for it, whether you were there or not, this is a great opportunity to kind of celebrate that. They interview Terry Levine and kind of talk about how he operated. Now, apparently when Dr. Butcher played, they actually had a Butchermobile, which was kind of like an old school William Castle ballyhoo idea. They had a big flatbed truck and they drove around the block on a megaphone proclaiming, hey, this movie's coming to town. And it was a huge hit. It worked. What's the movie about, you ask? Well, we have a hospital where the corpses are being eaten, and turns out that's happening in several hospitals. And so the head nurse, played by Alexandra De La Colli, and our police inspector, played by Ian McCulloch of zombie fame, they decide to head off to a far-off land where, of course, cannibals run rampant. But while they're there, they also encounter a mad scientist. And this mad scientist is basically performing brain surgery and resuscitating the dead and switching brains around. And so that's where we get our zombie part. We got zombies that are reanimated by our mad doctor, and then we have cannibals in the form of the tribe. No, it's incredibly un-PC. The whole shebang is incredibly un-PC, but that's kind of the joy of Italian horror in the early 1980s. Let's take a look at this new release by Severin. You've got double-sided artwork, and then you've got a reversible sleeve that has both pieces of artwork as well. You've also got a replica of the Dr. Butcher MD barf bag that they handed out back in the day. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 discs to UHD to regular Blu-ray, all 4K quality. And there are over 4 hours of supplements if you include all the featurettes on both discs. Now, there's one thing I wish they'd gotten, because I'm a sucker for commentary tracks, so I wish they'd gotten somebody to do a couple of commentary tracks on there. That would have been great. I would not have minded getting a little more context about the film itself, because really this is a glorious, gory film. It's a great example of Italian splatter horror from that era. And you've got great makeup work by Maurizio Trani and Rosario Prestipino. And if you know Italian horror, you definitely recognize those names. If you don't recognize those names, look them up on IMDb, because they have just got a slew of credits. It's a great way to get a deeper dive into Italian horror. And the reason I mention those two is that you've got some incredible makeup effects. There are heads getting sawed open for the brain transplants. There are massive evisceration. There's guts everywhere. There's a scene where a propeller meets a zombie's head. There's lots and lots of just gut munching by our cannibals. It really is a gorehound's dream. Is it high art? No. And I think that's why they talk about this film in the context of 42nd Street, that grindhouse cinema where exploitation was really the name of the game. You wanted to go bigger, you wanted to go harder, you wanted to get more splatter, more guts. This film has a little bit of everything. You've got name recognition in the form of Ian McCullough from Zombie. You've got female nudity. You've got male nudity. It's just a cornucopia of exploitation madness. So that is Zombie Holocaust and Dr. Butcher MD, both available. I keep saying both. A 4-disc package that is now available from Severin Films. Absolutely worth your time if you have any interest in Italian horror from the 1980s. And in terms of your horror education, I would say examining the horror films of the 1980s coming out of Italy is an essential part of your education. So let me know some of your favorite Italian horror films. I'll also have another 5 titles down in the description of this video. You let me know what you'd like to see taken off the stack. Until next time, keep searching, keep exploring, and keep sharing the scare.